every day I'm going to try to like sort of condition Niner fans to agree with me about trading George Kittle, and I'm not done. I save it till the end today, but here's the thing with George Kittle. I feel like his lower body might be breaking down. His last 2 injuries have been just from running, non-contact, foot broke, calf/Achilles, badly pulled. Here's the thing with Kittle. Let's get some context to who he is. When he went to Iowa, look it up. George Kittle rivals. George Kittle scout. He was 6'4", 200 pounds. He was a wide receiver. So what happened in George Kittle's life? He wasn't going to make it as a wide receiver. So he put in the work. He put in the work in the weight room and put on 50 pounds of muscle. He's got like 6% body fat. He's yoked. And he wasn't that yoked his final year at Iowa. He wasn't that yoked his rookie year. It took him time. But by the time he was in 2018, 2019, he was one of the biggest freaks in the NFL. You couldn't tackle him. And that 2-year stretch was glorious. But I've always felt that he still sort of has the lower body of that wide receiver that he went to Iowa as. All that muscle and explosion was sort of upper body. And I feel like a person's frame and bone structure can only handle so much weight and mass. Eventually overloading it with all that weightlifting and hard work, overloading the bones, ligaments, and tendons with that much muscle, power, explosion, torque, your body eventually can't hold up. And usually it's around when you're 28, 29 years old. I call this like the muscled up little man. And I'm sorry to call George Kittle that, but you were a 6'4", 200 pound wide receiver. The muscled up little man can be a baller for a long time, but it usually comes at a price down the road. And the other person I would compare him to is Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey came in the league at the same time. Little dude got bigger to the point where in 2018, 2019, he was an MVP. He was great. Where the hell has Christian McCaffrey been the last 2 years? Oh, well, his body's breaking down. I mean, much more extreme than George Kittle. He's a running back, but I'm leery of the muscled up little man. And you can see it in their legs, in their wrists, in their hands, those things don't change. And when you get to about this age, we talk about albatrosses, right? You become an albatross real quick. I mean, I think McCaffrey's an albatross over there in Carolina. They're trying to figure out ways to get rid of him, trying to act like he still has value. Everyone knows that he's just an overpaid, non-durable running back at this point. No one thinks that about Kittle yet, except for me. That's all I'm saying. Just remember, he was a wide receiver, and he still has those legs.
I don't agree with what you're using to get at what you want to get at, just because that's not abnormal in football for freshmen to come in at a low weight and then gain 50, 100 pounds of weight muscle. It happens throughout
all the time. Happens all the time.
I remember when I used to play NCAA football on PlayStation 2 or something. I used to get so mad because you'd get a freshman and he'd be already like 250 pounds and yoked. I'm like, that's not real. That's not how it happens. They come in.
What I'm saying is, like, he probably came to Iowa running a 4.5. He went to the NFL 50 pounds heavier, running a 4.5. And his legs were never really his body was never meant to be 250. He got there with hard work, but his leg, you could see it. Like, his lower body isn't meant to bear that kind of load while running. I mean, I know a lot of guys will put on 100, 150 pounds if they're offensive lineman. This guy's still running, and his injuries come from running, and they're lower body injuries because he has wide receiver legs.
Even linebackers and those types put on 50 pounds easy. I mean, like a guy like DeMarcus Ware was a wide receiver, right? And then they turned him.
But this happens all the time to NFL players who are muscled up little men. By the time they're 28, 29, they're not the best anymore. It happens all the time.
One of the things that Bill Walsh liked to look at, I remember in his book, was bone density, and looking at he would look for players with higher bone density because he felt like that led to less injuries.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Interesting.
I actually have a higher bone density than normal person, and I've never had a bone fracture or anything like that. So maybe there's something to that.
I mean, this was what I was worried about with Nick Bosa when the Niners drafted him. I felt he was overly muscled up, like 275 with 4% body fat, and you're 6'3". But look at his legs. He really does carry his weight. It's more balanced in distribution than Kittle. Kittle's is much more upper body oriented, and I just feel like this trend that we're seeing with his injuries is hard to ignore. Running, broke your foot. Running, pulled your calf, which is connected to the Achilles tendon. I'm concerned about his bones, tendons, ligaments. That's what happens, though.
Yeah.
Man. Muscle up, little man. Saying. It's a lot of torque that you're putting on parts of your body that weren't meant to take that much. He didn't look like this when he came out of Iowa. That's why he was a 5th-round pick. He kept working. And by the time in 2018, he was the most physically impressive player in the league. It's amazing. Go back and look what he looked like at Iowa, man. He didn't look like this at all. It's amazing. I mean, it's to be commended what he did, but I feel like it comes at a price. Comes at a price. He wasn't naturally supposed to be 250. Some people are. This guy is Kittle was always a testament to hard work. Hard work. He made himself. He's a self-made guy.
I actually don't think many people are naturally made to be 250. I think it's 6'4", 250. I don't think it's a natural thing. There are some instances, but I think most of that is actually hard work.
Vernon Davis, when he went to college, was 220. He was 6'4", 220. He only put on 20 pounds in college. Like, he was meant to be that frame. George Kittle was a wide receiver when he left high school and realized it's not going to work for me at wide receiver. I got to be 250. And he got there. And he was the best tight end in the league.
Isn't he 240?
What? I don't know what he is now. He might be 235 now. I don't know. I think he's trying to get lighter for this very reason.
I think he's listed at 240. I think the general weight or the average weight of tight ends probably gone down in the last 5 years. I think
they list him at 250. I'm just saying 6'4", 250.
Do they?
He might not be that, but they list him at 250.
Okay, I thought they listed him at 240, but okay.
Me too, but he might say that he is, but right here, George Kittle, 49ers.com, 6'4", 250. So I don't know.
Maybe next time you get a chance to ask him a question, ask him that. Hey George,
how your legs feel? How your legs feeling, bud? You think you're gonna make it past week 1 this year?
I mean,
legs are not get hurt week 1 this year, man. What's your plan? Because I feel like what their plan was last year was to not use, like, basically they didn't throw him the ball very much in training camp. He had a very light training camp. I thought this was kind of weird. They used to always feature him in training camp and then feature him in the games. And then when the season came over, got hurt right away, and they were like managing him. Like, when they needed him, like, George, we need you to step up this game. Our season's on the brink. He came through, big game, hell of a player, and then they managed him for the next month. You got to. I just said Mugatu.
Maybe they should use Frank Gore.
Frank Gore shoots all kind of holes in this one. Frank Gore was not a muscled up little man. Frank Gore had a little chunk on him.
I think maybe what he's saying is that Frank Gore was able to come back from a history of like his college years were like mirrored in injuries, and then he was able to put together a pretty healthy NFL career. But Frank Gore is like the unicorn in that. Like most guys, that if you have an injury history, you're probably going to injure it again.
True. He was definitely. There's never been anyone like him, but his injuries happened when he was young, and then he was crazy durable.
Right, two reconstructive knee surgeries in college, and then came back and was like phenomenal.
Never hurt. Yeah,
and never.
Your dad is a legend. I'm sure Kyle knows of him. Dude, Kyle doesn't know anyone. Kyle watches videos of himself throwing footballs. Kyle is in his own world. I don't think he knows who my dad is. I like Kittle as a Niner fan, but we can't be saying NFL is a business except when it comes to Kittle. He's an asset we can use to make the team better. Oh, LA Blue 49, we just became best friends. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep notes of all the people who agree with me on this topic, and then we're going to start our own show called the Trade George Kittle Show. And everyone's going to be like, let's do it. And I'm like, you want to do it? Everyone's going to be like, yeah. And that's the end of the show.
Only post comments that agree with you.
Yesterday, so Twitter's mad at me. Been mad at me like the last couple of months. Happens every offseason. I just kind of ignore Twitter, like my mentions after all. They're so mean. But I jumped into Twitter Spaces yesterday, and all of a sudden, everyone's hella nice. They're like, we got the legend in the house, Grant Cohn. Everyone's like, hey, man, would you follow me I was like, yeah. And I went around following everyone. I felt really good about myself. That's neither here nor there. I just want to say that Twitter Spaces are fun. I like them. That's our show.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, everyone. It's been a great time.
That's how you get all the followers, Twitter Spaces. So
thin ankles are a genetic trait of speed. That's what I'm saying. I'm hella fast, thin ankles. Thin wrists, saying. I know it. I never got to 250, though. This is a true story. So I'm 178 right now. I'm kind of a thin guy. When I first got on the beat, AJ Jenkins was 190, but he said he wanted to get to 200 to show that he was tough and strong. And I felt I'm going to get to 200 before him. So I lifted all the time, and I ate bacon and eggs, and I had a bagel every morning, and I just like consuming so much cholesterol. My parents were like, "What are you doing?" And I got to 200 pounds, but it really wasn't muscle. I was.
Do you have pictures of this?
Probably.
Put them on Twitter.
I was so determined to get to 200 pounds because I thought AJ Jenkins was trash. I really thought I was better than him at everything in life. I was like, I could play wide receiver better than you. I can get to 2. I could be stronger than you. I'm a better athlete than AJ Jenkins. So I just ate hella bacon and got to 200 pounds. Everyone's like, you look terrible. What are you doing? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm cut. What are you talking about? Anyway.
You know what would be an interesting video? Like George Kittle should take you for like a workout.
He's not ready for this workout.
Nashville?
Actually, that would be a lot of fun. I'm 6'1", 178. Just so good looking. Just perfectly proportioned. No. But I was 205 at one point just because it was AJ Jenkins' fault. It was AJ's fault. I blame him. But I never got to 250. My goodness. All right, man. Well, that's been a good show. Really enjoyed talking about George Kittle's frame. It's one of my favorite things to do. I will be back later today with Jack talking about, other
George
things.
Kittle.
Yeah, more George Kittle. There we go. He said he wanted to trade Jimmy Garoppolo for Christian McCaffrey, so we might just have to talk about that. How many you really want to trade one albatross for the next?
God.
Why don't we trade
another
for
another running back that's going to eat up all the salary cap? And
Grant, I want to buy you a beer and just disagree with you the entire time. Oh yeah, story of my life. That's right. I like that. We could do that. No, but really, when I do meet up with fans, they usually just end up asking me about all the players. What's he like? What's this guy like? What's he really like? That's usually what happens. And I'll tell you, but I can't tell you on the show because they're watching and they'll block me.
Or you're like,
trade proposal.
I don't know. I haven't
Carolina.
seen him in person in like how many years? How many years you haven't seen him? And you're probably not going to get back in the locker room.
Trade proposal: Jimmy and Kittle to Carolina for number 6 in 22 and conditional second to first playoffs in 23 and fullback. Okay, so here's the thing. I just feel like putting Jimmy in this trade just brings the value down. It's a lot of money going out to Carolina. Yeah. Can they afford $40 million coming in? 2 first-round picks? Damn, man. I don't know. I don't think so. An albatross and Kittle.